All right, let's take another deep dive, shall we? And today, well, we're heading to 18th century Paris. But not in the way you might think. We're not looking at the fancy palaces or anything like that.
No, no strolling along the Champs-Élysées for us.
Definitely not. We're going olfactory, folks. Yeah, we're diving deep into the world of scent through actually excerpts from Patrick Süskind's novel, Perfume, The Story of a Murderer.
It's quite a journey and certainly a different lens through which to view history.
Yeah, it really is. It's dark. It's definitely twisted.
Yeah.
But it's also incredibly fascinating in how it explores this idea of like how scent shapes not just our perceptions, but an entire society and, of course, the mind of a very, very unique character.
Suskind doesn't hold back either. Right from the start, he plunges you into the reality of 18th century Paris.
Oh, yeah? And it's not pretty.
Not at all. Forget romantic paintings and flowery prose. This is a world of stench, pure and simple.
When you read those descriptions, it's kind of hard to stomach.
Yeah.
All that, everything from body odor to rotting garbage. It makes you appreciate modern plumbing, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And that brings us to, one of the most striking examples, the Cimetière des Innocents.
Oh, the cemetery. Right.
Imagine a cemetery that has been in use for, about 8 centuries. Packed with bodies above ground, below ground.
I read that, yeah. Overslowing, basically.
It wasn't just a smell, it was a health hazard, and right in the heart of Paris.
And then eventually they decide to turn it into a food market.
Exactly. Can you imagine the shift?
I mean, talk about a change in atmosphere.
Yeah.
But it's almost symbolic, isn't it? This idea of just covering up the unpleasant and moving on. Kind of like how we deal with things today in a way.
Precisely. It's a fascinating reflection on human nature, wouldn't you say?
For sure. So we have this city, this world really defined by this overwhelming stench. And then smack dab in the middle of it all, our protagonist, Jean-Baptiste Grenouille, is born.
Now, Grenouille he's unique to say the least.
That's putting it mildly.
This child, he has no scent of his own. None whatsoever.
Yeah, in a world where smell is, everything. He's an anomaly.
Imagine that. Even wet nurses are repulsed by him. And think about how he learns. His first words aren't associated with sounds, but with smells.
So instead of mama or dada, his first words are
fish, goat stall, wet
Cool.
cobblestone. He builds a vocabulary of odors.
Wow, that's pretty wild to think that his understanding of the world is formed through scent. It makes you wonder, what does his Paris look like? I mean, does he even see the buildings, or is it just this swirling map of smells?
That's a question Suskind explores beautifully. Grenouille experiences the city in a way we can barely fathom. Every street, every corner has its own unique olfactory signature for him.
And then there's his apprenticeship with the tanner, Grimal. I mean, talk about a baptism by stench.
The tannery is another level entirely. The descriptions are, let's just say they're vivid. But for Grenouille, it's almost like a playground.
It shows his resilience, I guess you could say. This ability to not just survive, but thrive in an environment most would find utterly repulsive.
And here's the interesting part. Grenouille isn't interested in fancy perfumes. The kind Baldini creates later on.
He's drawn to something else then.
Much more primal. The raw, natural scents, the smell of earth, of leather, of, even decay. It's like he's seeking a deeper connection to nature, to the very essence of life and death through those smells.
And that's what makes him different from, I guess, a typical perfumer, right?
Exactly. He's not interested in masking those scents and creating something artificial. It's about capturing the essence of things in their purest form.
Makes you think about, what we consider appealing, what we're drawn to. Is it the manufactured, the polished, or is there something inherently attractive about those raw natural smells? I mean, why are we drawn to certain scents?
It's a fascinating question, one that taps into, the very nature of attraction itself, and one that Süskind explores in a rather disturbing way as the story progresses.
Yeah, things definitely take a dark turn. This fascination Grenouille has with scent, with capturing the essence of things, it leads him down a very, very dark path.
It begins with a young girl. He becomes obsessed with her scent. And this obsession, it leads him to commit his first murder.
Right, and this is where things get really, really chilling.
Yeah.
because it's not just the act itself, it's his reaction or lack thereof.
Exactly. There's no remorse, no guilt. His only focus is on preserving her scent. It's almost like he's collecting a specimen.
It's a really disturbing glimpse into his mind. This complete detachment, this lack of any human emotion. It's hard to comprehend. But in a way, it's also what sets him on this path to becoming a perfumer.
Right. This horrific act is what ultimately propels him into the world of scent creation. He wants to learn how to capture and recreate those scents, those fleeting essences that fascinate him so much.
Even if it means exploiting others in the process. And well, that's where Baldini comes in.
Ah, Baldini. A once renowned perfumer, now a shadow of his former self.
He sees Grenouille's talent, right? But he's also afraid of him. I mean, who wouldn't be?
He recognizes the darkness in Grenouille, the potential for, well, for something truly unsettling.
But he also sees an opportunity, a chance to revive his failing perfume house by exploiting this young man's genius. And that's exactly what he does.
It's a classic story, wouldn't you say? The master and the apprentice. But in this case, the lines are blurred. Baldini uses Grenouille, that's clear. But Grenouille is also using Baldini. He needs to learn the craft, to master the techniques, even if it means playing the role of the subservient apprentice. And he does so brilliantly. He bides his time, waiting for the moment to break free and pursue his own, shall we say, unique goals.
And that moment comes in the form of, a feigned illness. Pretty clever, actually.
Oh, incredibly so. He convinces Baldini he's dying, extracts a promise in exchange for his secret formulas.
Never to return to Paris, never to recreate Baldini's perfumes.
A win-win on the surface, but for Grenouille, it's just the beginning. He's playing a much longer game, and it takes him far away from the bustling streets of Paris.
To the mountains. Isolation. But not the kind you might think.
He seeks a different kind of enlightenment, an olfactory one. 7 years he spends in a cave like a hermit, but focused on scent.
A sensory deprivation experiment, but with smell. What happens in that cave changes everything. It leads him to a profound and terrifying realization. He's a void in a world of scent, an emptiness. And that discovery changes the course of his life forever. It's almost like he discovers his superpower.
Yeah.
You know, this blank slate, this ability to manipulate people through scent.
It is a form of power, isn't it? To be unseen, undetected, yet able to influence others in such a primal way.
Yeah, it's like he's a con artist. But instead of words or appearances, he's using smell. And that brings us to, this rather eccentric character, the Marquis de la Taille d'Espinasse.
Ah, the Marquis. Now, there's a man obsessed with his own theories.
Oh, yeah. Completely convinced that, flutum letail, this deadly gas that was the source of all kinds of problems.
Ailments, social unrest, you name it. The Marquis had an explanation for everything, and it always came back to flutum letail.
And Grenouille, after 7 years in a cave, he becomes the Marquis' guinea pig.
It's almost comical the way Grenouille plays along with this whole charade. He humors the Marquis, pretends to be affected by this flutum letail, all the while observing learning.
Yeah, he's not just hiding out. He's studying human behavior. He sees how easily people are swayed by appearances.
And by scent, of course, which is where the Marquis' obsession with fluidum vital comes in. This supposed life-giving force, the opposite of fluidum letail.
So Grenouille decides to, create a perfume for him.
He does, a special blend designed to evoke vitality, health, all the things the Marquis associates with fluidum vital.
And the Marquis buys it, of course. Thinks Grenouille has cracked the code to eternal life or something.
It's brilliant, really. Grenouille understands the power of suggestion, the way our senses can shape our beliefs. He's not just creating scents, he's crafting perceptions, emotions.
But he's not after fame or fortune, is he?
No, Grenouille has his own agenda. He uses his newfound knowledge, his skills, to escape the Marquis and continue his journey, and that journey takes him to Grasse.
Grasse, the perfume capital of the world. I mean, if you're obsessed with scent, that's the place to be.
And it's in Grasse where Grenouille encounters, a scent unlike any other. A scent so captivating, so intoxicating, it throws him back to that first murder.
The young girl.
Exactly. It awakens something primal in him, this obsession with capturing, preserving that essence. He believes it holds the key to the ultimate perfume.
The scent of what? Love. Power.
That's the question, isn't it? What exactly is Grenouille striving for? But his pursuit of this elusive scent, takes him down an even darker path.
Because the murders start again. Young girls disappear, their bodies found drained of their scent. It's horrifying.
And the town is gripped by terror. Everyone's a suspect. The authorities are baffled. There's no apparent motive, no connection between the victims, except for this missing scent.
And the fear, the paranoia, it just feeds into itself.
Yeah. Absolutely. The bishop even performs a public anathema, cursing the murderer. And oddly enough, the murders stop for a while. But it's a false sense of security. Grenouille hasn't left. He's just waiting, biding his time. And then he sets his sights on Laura Riches.
Laura Riches, the daughter of the town's second consul. I remember reading about her. She was described as the epitome of beauty.
And her scent, according to Grenouille, is the missing piece. The final element he needs to create his ultimate perfume. He becomes obsessed with capturing her essence.
But her father, Antoine Riches, he's not a fool. He senses the danger, tries to protect his daughter.
He's a shrewd man, Riches. He keeps Laura under guard, even plans to send her away to safety. He recognizes the evil that's lurking in grass.
It's like a battle of wits between Riches and Grenouille. Reason versus obsession. Logic versus something primal, something almost animalistic.
And despite Riches' best efforts, Grenouille succeeds. He gets to lure. It's a horrific scene, the culmination of his twisted obsession. He extracts her scent, completing his collection. He now has all the ingredients for his ultimate perfume. But what he discovers next is, it's unexpected to say the least.
So he's done it, right? He's finally created this perfume, this scent that can supposedly make anyone fall in love with him. It's a terrifying thought, really. I mean, the power he now holds.
It is a potent weapon. But here's the twist. Grenouille, he isn't satisfied.
He's not. But I thought, wasn't the whole point to be loved, adored, to have this power over people?
You would think so, wouldn't you? But all those years of obsession, those horrific acts, they lead him to a rather unsettling realization.
Which is?
The ultimate perfume, the scent of love, it doesn't bring him the fulfillment he expected.
So you mean he doesn't actually feel loved? But I thought the perfume, it was supposed to, make people adore him.
It does. But that's the irony. He realizes he doesn't want adoration. It's hatred he craves. The only genuine emotion he's ever truly felt.
Hold on. So he wants people to hate him after going through all that trouble to create this love potion.
It might seem contradictory, but it speaks to a deeper psychological need. He wants a real reaction, even if it's negative. He wants to be seen, acknowledged for who he truly is, even if that truth is monstrous.
Okay, so I think I'm following. But then what happens? He gets caught, right?
He does. The town, they're baying for his blood. They want justice for those murdered girls. They want to see him punished.
And Grenouille, does he try to escape? Does he fight back?
He has one last trick up his sleeve, the ultimate perfume.
Oh, wow. So he uses it on the crowd during his execution? Talk about a dramatic last stand.
It's a scene that really captures the essence of the novel. This power of scent to overwhelm, to override reason. As Grenouille stands on the scaffold, he unleashes the perfume.
What happens? Do they attack him?
Quite the opposite. Instead of rage, the crowd is overcome with desire. It's absolute chaos. A massive orgy erupts right there in the town square.
Wow, that's I don't even know what to say to that. It's so messed up.
It's a stark visualization of how easily our senses can be manipulated, how scent can override morality, logic, everything. It's a chilling commentary on human nature, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. So Grenouille, what about him? Is he happy now?
Disgusted. He despises their adoration. He sees it for what it is, a manufactured emotion, not genuine. He tries to provoke them, to break through this perfume-induced haze. He wants their hatred, but they can't see past the scent. He fails.
So what happens then?
In a final act of despair, he consumes his own perfume, offers himself up to the mob, driven by this twisted need for a genuine emotional response, and they devour him, literally tear him apart, leaving no trace.
Oh my God, that is just horrific. But in a way, it's also kind of fitting, isn't it?
Yeah.
He finally gets what he wanted, this real visceral reaction.
It's a tragic end, certainly. But the story doesn't end there. The aftermath is perhaps even more unsettling. The town forgets. It's like a collective amnesia descends upon them. They scapegoat another innocent man, erasing the true horror of what happened.
It's like they can't face the reality of what they did, how easily they were manipulated by scent, by their own base desires. How do you even begin to process something like that?
It raises profound questions about the nature of memory, about how societies cope with trauma. Sometimes, it seems, it's easier to forget than to confront the truth. Especially a truth as disturbing as this one.
Wow, that's quite a deep dive. Susskind, really takes you on a journey with Perfume.
Hmm.
It's disturbing, thought-provoking, and more than a little unsettling.
It challenges our perceptions of beauty, of attraction, even of what it means to be human. It makes you question the role our senses play in shaping our reality, how easily we can be deceived, and how those deceptions can lead to, well, to devastating consequences. It's a story that stays with you long after you finished reading it, leaving you with a lingering sense of unease.
I think that's a perfect note to end on. Until next time, folks, keep those noses clean and be careful what you choose to smell.